What up, world? This is your host, Anthony Wright, coming to you with another episode of Blunt Talk Sports Podcast, special edition. This episode is detailing the Kirk Cousins benching. As you all know, news dropped late last night that Kirk Cousins was benched for Michael Penix Jr. I just wanted to do this episode more or less this morning to hop into, some of the brief topics and things that, I thought were definitely pertinent to this issue, things that I've been discussing throughout the summer in regards to this move since Michael Penix has been drafted. And so forth. And as always, again, it's a Blunt Talk Sports Podcast. Like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel. You can check the show out on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Trovo, and also on Substack. And also too, guys, it's championship football season. I know you guys, college football playoffs have started. I know you guys are definitely looking forward to getting into the mix of this and really, getting to some of these events, something to do over the holidays. Well, check out StubHub. If you're looking for tickets for concerts and events. I posted a few of the links in the descriptions in some of the other videos, but definitely check out, like I said, StubHub is definitely an affiliate partner with the show. So if you're definitely looking for any tickets or events, anything coming up this holiday season, going into the new year, definitely check out StubHub, the place for tickets. But again, hopping right into this episode, guys. Wow. Not a shock as far as Kirk Cousins being benched, but the magnitude and what this may mean long-term for the Atlanta Falcons. I thought signing Kirk Cousins was a bad move in the offseason. I've said it here on the show. If you guys have followed the show, I've been doing this podcast since right before a couple months, like 2 months before the draft. So detailing a lot of information, I kind of knew that like Kirk Cousins, mercenary style player, smart, shrewd businessman, goes wherever the money is and he's supposed to. However, not really a good quarterback as far as winning when it counts. Numbers and intangibles, consistent, perennial 4,000 or 5,000 yard passer, touchdown to interception ratio typically looks good. However, I thought it was insane that you would pay $100 million plus to a quarterback coming off a torn ACL, and let alone it be this guy who is not even mobile, who has not been good when it's counted. I mean, we all know the stories with Kirk Cousins, whether it's the Monday Night Football stats or the primetime game stats. He's been mediocre at best, if not downright fucking horrible. I think this is, like I said, one of the stupidest moves. And this compounds a lot of problems that a lot of NFL teams deal with. And I feel bad ultimately for the Falcons fan base because this is incompetent ownership. This is what incompetency looks like. Don't be naive to think that they had this planned. Don't be naive to think that they thought, well, you know what? Penix is going to come in late in the year and save our ass because, we just expect Kirk Cousins to hit a wall and just go through the ebbs and flows. That's bullshit. That's bullshit, and I'm going to call that right now. They paid Kirk Cousins before they even saw Michael Penix even work out, which again is insanity in itself. So you literally signed a veteran quarterback with the hopes that he would be your starter. You then see the young guy play, and you're like, oh, shit. Look how the ball was coming out of his hands. Look how that shit's he's a lefty. Oh, man. So you signed the veteran, and then, you hedged your bet. I was one of the people that thought at the beginning it was smart, and now it wound up being smart in the way that I thought, because if this man fell off a cliff like I expected, like some others expected, you had the young guy in the wings that you could slide in there and at least play in this role, and, he could be the quarterback of the future going forward. I tend to believe that they tried to have their cake and eat it too. I don't know necessarily the whole dynamic. I won't bullshit you guys. I know for a fact Arthur Blank is the owner. I know Terry Fontenot is the GM. I know Raheem Morris is the coach. I know Arthur Blank okayed this move. I really want to know who was the brain trust behind bringing Kirk Cousins in. Because you can't tell me that they were still convinced that this was the right decision after they drafted Michael Penix. Hell, after they saw Michael Penix work out in training camp, in spring OTAs. I mean, guys, against the Raiders, Kirk Cousins was horrible. Horrible. He threw it 17 times. Now, you got people talking shit about Jalen Hurts throwing. Jalen Hurts had Saquon Barkley. You had an offensive running game where you didn't have to, run the ball. Throw the ball that much. You didn't need to throw it 22, 32 times. Contrary to what you saw Sunday, when you did have to throw 20, 30 times, you could do it. Kirk Cousins has hit a cliff. Look at these stats since the Dallas game. He's been downright fucking horrible. He has been one of the worst quarterbacks in football. Make no mistake about it. The past month and a half. He's been one of the worst quarterbacks in football. Deshaun Watson fell off this cliff. We've now seen Kirk Cousins fall off this cliff. The difference is, anybody with a brain who watches football, who's been watching this for years, who knows football, knew you were taking a risk signing a guy coming off a torn ACL, giving him that much money anyway. And then the contract. Looking here at the contract information, $90 million guaranteed at signing. Okay. Roster bonus of $10 million, so that's your $100 million right there. And that's fully guaranteed the 5th day of the league year. Now, keep in mind, that's the 2026 roster bonus. Okay, so that's where all that comes in. So, essentially, when you break it down, this year, base salary at $12.5 million at signing. You go, give me 1 second, guys. Go a little bit further. His cap hit this year alone was $25 million. Next year is $40 million. He's going to be accounting for almost 15% of the salary cap next year. If they let him go, which we expect, cut him, which we don't expect them to cut him, but they're definitely going to get off his contract. That's $65 million in dead cap, which is now going to limit your chances at signing free agents, which is now going to limit your chances at really making this team better. I really want to know who was responsible for this decision, because they need their ass kicked. This was stupidity. Look, the way the contract was drawn up, you can't even get out of Kirk Cousins' contract until 2026. He has 2 years and $100 million locked up at that point. You could get off him around that point, have a dead cap hit around $35 million, but this is a large contract to take on for a guy who's fell off a cliff. Who the fuck is going to trade for Kirk Cousins? If he's a free agent, maybe somebody goes after him, but with that contract, how the hell is Atlanta going to get off that contract? And then to make, to see how sticky this shit is, $34 million of the 2024 and 2025 salary is insured. So 34 plus the 90, you easily, come on, guys. Y'all can do the math. That's a lot of money to be paid to a guy who clearly is nowhere near the level of or caliber of player that he once was, and even commands that type of contract. But the catch in all of this is the full no trade clause. What does he do with that? His wife is from Alpharetta, Georgia. He's kind of made the full commitment. He's in the community. He's done all the necessary things to really be in that community and be for the Atlanta Falcons. And because of his play, rightfully so, they're going to sit his ass down. But I'm very curious to see, does he want to be traded again? Will he sit down and say, fuck it, pay me the money. I'll sit on the bench. I'll help the young guy out. Because then essentially you be paying him for 2 more years, a lot of money to just ride the bench with no intention of actually putting him back in the game. This is a dumbass situation for Atlanta. I don't know how they thought this was going to work, but this clearly has worked. Terry Fontenot and Raheem Morris, they got to wear this. They got to wear this. Now, the only way you rectify it is if that young quarterback pops. Because if that young quarterback hits and he does exactly what he needs to do, then there's no problem there. Michael Penix, I personally, tape that I watched on him, I like Michael Penix. I liked him at Indiana. I liked him at Washington. I thought he was good at Indiana, and then when he got to Washington, had even more talent around him. He was a Heisman candidate, national championship caliber quarterback. They played against Michigan. Michigan's defense was just dominant that year, so didn't really expect them to win a national title, but still a good young prospect. I'm pretty sure he's sitting back looking at Jane Daniels and Bo Nix and looking at some of these guys and kind of thinking, damn, I could do some of this shit. I actually think that the Falcons offense, maybe not necessarily game one, we'll see, but I think as the season progresses and going into next year, this offense is going to pop with him in there. Because Michael Penix is not known to be a mobile quarterback, but he is a guy that's a fleet of foot. He can maneuver in the pocket, great deep ball, great accuracy on the pass. I like what I saw from him in the preseason, so I'm definitely excited. You know, if you're a Falcons fan, you definitely have to be excited. But as a football fan, period, I'm excited to see what he can do. The writing was on the wall with this, though, guys. I mean, if you pay attention to the game, you know, if you were an unlucky bastard like myself that had to watch it, it wasn't really an offensive showing, as I've previously spoken on in previous videos. It was one of the worst offensive showings of the night on Monday night. However, what I think was really, truly an indictment and really spoke volumes was, did any of you guys really notice? And I had to actually go back before I recorded this. I actually had to go back and look. Did any of y'all notice? And I have some pictures here. Any of y'all notice that Michael Penix was actually like getting game ready Monday night? Like literally getting ready to take snaps, like hop into the game. Helmet was on, looked like fully engaged. More than I've seen, you know, just on my lonesome watching, you know, Falcons games this year. So the writing was on the wall. You know, and Raheem Morris, he did the best that he could playing the NFL political game. Because you know with the media, if you say too much, you're wrong. If you don't do enough, you're wrong. So it's a catch-22. So he did the right thing with handling it the way he did. However, there's a lot of shit on people's shoes in Atlanta with this. It's just going to get sticky. Like I said, I don't know what Kirk Cousins does at the end of this year. He has the option, being that he has a no trade clause, he could really sit on the bench, y'all, and just collect that money. Logically speaking, to stick it to the Falcons, that's probably what I would do. But being that, you know, he's a mercenary, and he's always going to the highest bidder, it might behoove him to just sit on the bench, y'all, because who's paying him? Who's going to give him top dollar after the performance that he's had the second half of the season? No one. So, don't really know where this leads, but excited for Michael Penix, excited for the fan base to see Michael Penix in Atlanta. But the ownership and front office have to wear this, and Kirk Cousins, that is really the true enigma in all of this. What will he do at the end of the year? So, exciting. But I just wanted to make sure I did this video, guys, and touched on a lot of the key things and talked about it. More updates will come along. I'll definitely do another video and post some stuff. But as always, like, share, and subscribe. Take care, guys. Enjoy the rest of your Wednesday. Be safe, and happy holidays.